The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Ola Olukoyede, has instructed staff of the commission to declare their assets in line with civil service regulations and procedures. He gave the directive at the corporate headquarters of the commission in Abuja while addressing senior staff of the EFCC. He said that fighting corruption should cascade from those above board. A statement by EFCC spokesman Dele Oyewale quoted Olukoyede as assuring the commission staff that adherence to the rule of law would be his defining principle of work. Quote, "The EFCC is a creation of the law. We must do our job in line with the dictates of the law. This is standard international practice and we would ensure that it is our established norm," he said. Now joining us in the studio is a lawyer, Inibehe Effiong. Inibehe, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's even begin with the release of Abdulrasheed Bawah, because this is also the EFCC matter. Just yesterday, after 134 days, as has been reported, he was released. And there's been divergent reactions to that, saying that he was not charged to court, there was no case against him, and now we are seeing his release. But let's get your reaction first before we delve into this matter.
Again, thank you for having me. I think the question is who watches the watchmen. When you have someone who has risen to the very, what I would call the sacred position of chairman of an anti-corruption commission, such as the EFCC, one would expect that that person would be living above board, that that person would be incorruptible, would be non-partisan, and will adhere strictly not only to his oath of office, but of course to moral and ethical requirements. Now, the Bawah issue is one that raises a lot of questions. If you have somebody at that level removed from office and then arrested by the State Security Service, I have always, and I have been consistent in my position, and this position precedes the current government. I think it has basically been so since 1999, that the SSS, the State Security Service, more often than not, their interventions in high-profile cases seems to be usually highly political. Because if the allegation against Bawah is corruption, since he was the chairman of the EFCC, there could be conflict of interest, right? So maybe ICPC could have investigated it. Because when SSS is the one detaining him, what that speaks to is that he has acted in a manner that threatens the national security of the country. And then when you have him detained for about 3 to 4 months, and at the end of the day, you give him a pat in the back and say, oh, go and sin no more. He comes out and his family celebrates him. Nope, we are not told what exactly the charges against him are. We only read in the media that certain allegations were made and certain things were found. None of this has been substantiated. So I expect, at a minimum, that the SSS will disclose to Nigerians why he was detained for that long and then explain why he has not been taken to court. We should not run a country where an agency of government detains people arbitrarily and then denies them of their personal liberty. And at the end of the day, there is no accountability. If he has committed an offense, take him to court, right? Because when you now keep him for that long period, and at the end of the day, no charges is filed, like we've seen in several other cases. Right? Again, it begs the question, what exactly is the motive for that? So it is good that he has been released. It is also good that if he committed infractions while in office, that he's offered an opportunity to explain that, and that if there were things that happened when he was the chairman of the commission, that Nigerians deserve to know, it should be put public, it should be disclosed. So it's not enough to simply say, we have released him, because I read the statement of Mr. Peter, the spokesperson of the SSS. And then I was wondering, just one line, you could, if you check their X handle, he simply said, oh, we confirm the release of Mr. Bawah. That is all. I don't think that is sufficient. Nigerians should be told why he was detained. Nigerians should be told whether he's going to be arraigned. Nigerians should be told whether the report in the media that some monies were traced to him is true or not. We deserve explanation on those questions. And I think that it is very vital, that those issues are resolved. But all in all, it is a commendable thing because his rights were violated. If you are going to fight people for engaging in abuse of office, you have to do that within the ambits of the law. The Constitution is clear, right? Section 35, that you cannot detain a Nigerian beyond 24 hours, except where there is no court within 40 kilometers. Can anybody in Nigeria say that Bawa's detention was legal? I don't think so. So let us not have an agency of government that becomes a monstrosity, an agency of government that is above the law. Let the SSS comply with the rule of law. Let them stick to the core mandate that the law has given to it under the National Security Agencies Act, which is to gather intelligence for the internal security of the country, and not just, to continue to act in this manner.
That's right. So let's get down to the conversation for today. The EFCC chairman, during his screening by members of the Senate, said that if you're fighting corruption, you become enemy of everybody. And the fact that he's now saying that he wants his members, the EFCC officials, those who work for the EFCC, to declare their assets. Do you feel that he, starting from home, showing that whoever come into equity must come with clean hands? Do you see that as a good start for him?
Well, in principle, it is a good thing. But the way I choose to look at it, I think I should even state on record that by virtue of Section 15, subsection 5 of the Constitution, right, the state shall abolish all corrupt practices and abuse of power. That constitutional provision is the legal basis for the establishment of the EFCC and the ICPC. And that is a position that the Supreme Court took in the case of Attorney General of Ondo State and AG Federation, right, where the court said that, yes, the Constitution allows for the establishment of such agencies. Now, I like the fact that he has asked senior officials, I think from level 17 to declare the assets. Yeah. But I would have thought that in the spirit of transparency and accountability, that he will make his own asset declaration public.
He said he has done it.
He said he has done it.
Well, I would love to see it. I don't know if the media has published it. I haven't cited it.
Yeah, but there's a channel to actually...
to find that out.
Let it be published on the website of the Commission. If it is published on the website of the EFCC, Nigerians would like to see his own asset declaration. But let us not be mistaken. More often than not, when public officers or people in sensitive positions want to divert public funds, they don't usually acquire those assets in their names. They use proxies. So will the chairman of the commission also go further to check whether officials of the commission, have also acquired unexplained wealth? Because what I know, and I say that as a lawyer, I say that as someone, who I would describe in some sense as a friend of the commission, right? Because some of us on principle don't usually like going to court to fight the EFCC. So I'm not saying that, based on any ulterior motive. But I can tell you for free that in this country today, there is a strong perception that, we have a case where those who are supposed to fight corruption themselves also have a lot of questions to answer. And I'll give you some examples. Now, we see situations where petition is written against individuals, or EFCC arrests people, take them into custody, trace their assets, recover their properties allegedly stolen or money. At the end of the day, no accountability is given to that. I spoke with somebody who was detained by EFCC in Abuja for a while. And he told me that, look, right, that EFCC is a supermarket. Because if you are arrested and then you don't want to play balls, that is when they come hard on you. But I don't want this to just be an allegation. I want him to convince Nigerians that this is now a new dispensation that is truly interested in fighting corruption. Because I, as a person, right, I even have case matters that I've taken to the commission. And I can tell you that in many of those cases, I haven't been satisfied with the way they have handled those cases. So you now see EFCC now basically devoting their energy, their resources, more to chasing the so-called Yahoo boys, right? Going after, cyber criminals and those who stay on the internet to defraud people, which is not a bad thing. But regarding official corruption, regarding economic and financial, crimes, I'm not sure if Nigerians are really satisfied. People talk so much about what is happening in Abuja. How about the 36 states?
Right.
How about the 774 local governments? When was the last time we saw a former governor being taken to court? When was the last time we saw a local government chairman being arraigned in court? When was the last time we really saw the EFCC taking up high-profile cases? Even especially at the state level. In my home state, Akwa Ibom, for example, I'm not sure EFCC is still existing.
That's right.
I'm not sure, because their excuse over the years has been that, the state government had gone to court to stop us from persecuting people, to do this and do that. When they got one of those injunctions, I was the one who had to even take practical steps to get that order vacated. I don't know whether they got another order, but they keep making excuses. And this is what you see replicated in most of the states. So see, the new chairman has now said that he wants to live by examples, that even those who work for EFCC are not supposed to be corrupt. We want to see him being serious about it. And I must also highlight that regarding asset declaration, public officers also do what is called anticipatory declaration. So somebody has 10 million, right? But in anticipation that when I assume this position, I can make up to 100 million.
That's right.
He now declares 100 million. How do you trace that?
How do you trace it?
Again, the other problem is that the CCB, which is the agency that has responsibility for receipt of assets. How effective have they been? I have had these conversations with officials of the Code of Conduct Bureau in different fora, and I have challenged them that they are doing great disservice to the country, because the whole essence of asset declaration under the Constitution is not only for people to show that they can account for their wealth while in office, it is also supposed to be to afford the public an opportunity to speak to such declarations. So if people are making declarations and the right to the CCB to demand to see the assets, they don't ever release it.
Quite interesting.
They don't release it. So if an EFCC official, for example, has 20 SUVs and has buildings all over the country, how are people supposed to know? How are people supposed to know? Will the chairman also go to verify those declarations? Because he's talking about declaration. How about verification? He's not the one to verify. It is the Code of Conduct Bureau. So we need to have that national conversation. We need to get the Code of Conduct Bureau to discharge their functions, to make it possible for Nigerians to access these assets. But more importantly, some of us are not satisfied, with the way EFCC internally has addressed misconduct by their officials. They are becoming like the police, quite unfortunately. And I say that with all sense of responsibility. If you are saying that someone has defrauded someone has committed an offense, what happens to intelligence gathering? Right. But what we see now is that they just, break into people's homes, break into hotels, sometimes arrest innocent people. We see these things on the social media. Right? At the end of the day, no compensation is paid, no apology is suffered. That cannot happen. I have seen cases where EFCC will go to student hostels, like Akwa State University, for example, where they just raided the place, broke down doors, arrest students. Many of them are innocent. No apology, no accountability. Under the current chairman, that has to stop.